welcome along. This is Virtual Farmer, and in this video we're gonna have a look at Gnadenthal. This is a Canadian map located in southern Manitoba, and yeah, it's quite a difference to some of the other maps that we've been looking at. Very flat map, this very open. And very sort of distributed in the way the farmyard and things are, from what I've seen so far. We do actually have a car on this map, so we're going to be using that to have a drive around. But before we get stuck into that, let's have a quick look at the PDA. And immediately you can see what type of map this is. This is a very regular shaped large farming map, really. Something that does interest me a lot is you can see here we've got lots of small farmland IDs, and it looks like every single house on this map is purchasable, which is pretty cool. I do like that. I don't think you're necessarily going to actually go and buy many of these, but they are at least purchasable. Now, the most expensive piece of land on this map is Farmland 113. It is 764,730 to purchase. So it's still under $1 million. So despite the size of these fields, everything is really quite affordable. Most of the fields are around sort of, you're looking at over 100,000, over 150,000 to buy most fields on this map. So you're going to want to build your farm up quite a bit. It does feel like not so much of a start from scratch map, other than the fact there are lots of really small fields in here. Now, the cheapest field I found on here is down here, 103 here, 23,300, and so in fact no, 104 is cheaper, 16,872. So there are small areas and small fields you can buy. You could work yourself up, start from scratch, and buy a small yard. I suppose that would work on here. It would be a really challenging map to go and do that on, though. But yeah, looks really cool. Something else you might notice here, though, and this is the big draw on this map, is the huge number of new crops that this map features. And if we scroll down to the bottom here, you can see these. We've got alfalfa, clover, rye, triticale, millet, spelt, mustard, lavender, poppy, flax, buckwheat, and lentils. And this is a cross play map. So this is a map available on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X. So a whole load of brand new crops come in with this map, which is absolutely fantastic. And on top of that, we do actually have some productions that handle some, although not all of these crops, unfortunately, but some of these crops. So, for example, we've got 6 built-in production chains, all seem to be custom to this map quite nicely. We have the grain mill. It will do the millet. It'll make millet flour. You can make rye flour. You can make spelt flour, triticale flour as well. So the grain crops all seem to go through the grain mill, which is fantastic. The mustard will go through for mustard oil as well, which is really nice too. So there's a big chunk of them that are processable with the production chains on here. So I really like that as well. I also love that we do have 6 production chains built into the map as well. That is absolutely fantastic. You don't own any production chains when you come in as a new farmer, though. So let's jump in our truck here, I think, and we're going to have a quick drive around this map. We're going to take a slightly eccentric route, I think, to try and get ourselves round in a bit of a circle. You can see here the very distributed look of this, though. The farmyards on here aren't overly contained. We've got the dairy there, and so we're going to take a left up here. You can see we've got one farmyard in front of us there. We're going to loop back to that, but yes, we've got a farmyard here, you see. 84, this one. Very open farmyards. In fact, the thing about this map is it's a very open map in the way everything is constructed. Not what I would consider the most detailed map. As a result, it does feel a little bit sparse, but we've come across this actually in North American maps before, with Canadian and US maps, feeling very sparse and feeling very sort of very sort of plain. We do have the roadside dips, so the ditches sort of around. Look at that crop. That is just beautiful. Well, in fact, we come up to the edge of the map here. Oh, not, whoa, the speed of the cars on here, that's insane. Not a huge fan of the edge of that map, I will be honest. That is not pretty at the edge of that map there. So yeah, there does feel like there's a little bit of a lack of detail on this map, especially compared to some of the ones that we've been having a look at recently. I will say that water ditch there, that did look very cool as we were driving past it. We've got a few trees in here. There's not really any forest to speak of on this map, I don't think. No, there really isn't. It's very much a map that doesn't have any of that built in. And I think even from here, you can kind of see through the edge of the map. It's a little bit basic, the feeling I get on this. It's very playable, and if you want to use big equipment, I think this would be a great map for that. I also, as I said, I really have to give it credit for putting productions into it, because we've come across so many maps that don't build productions in. And yes, I really have to give it a lot of points for that. No BGA that I've seen so far, though. We do have an animal market. There's Larson's Livestock. And we've got a sell point here as well, I presume. Yes. And a sell point there. So we've got a few various sell points around. It does the job, this map. It really does feel like it does the job. We've got another farmyard up here, but you can see what I mean about this sort of doing the minimum in the way a lot of it's done. It really does feel a bit like that. Not to say that that's necessarily a bad thing. I do know that sometimes people like to play maps which don't have a lot of distractions on them, and yeah, this certainly fits the bill for that. We have the shop in here, so nice big shop area. That is perfect. Oh, nice big repair area as well. You will have no issue whatsoever getting your equipment into here for repairs. That's absolutely fantastic as well. And then we're just sort of back onto the open roads and back up here. I think for me personally, this is a map I would find myself losing a interest in, simply because there's not a huge amount of really nice scenery to look at, but that is a little bit of personal feeling on that. What is this place? No, I previously thought, yeah, no, this is it's a workshop. And this must be a separate workshop. Are there two workshops on it? I don't see an area where this has allows you to work on any equipment. So that's a little bit weird. It's a workshop in the middle of nowhere with apparently no work area, which is a little bit odd. We then have back down this way and back into what appears to be the farmyard. This is where all of our equipment is concentrated. We do seem to have a grain elevator here, a conveyor. We also have a whole load of equipment around here. I'm guessing these sheds here must be full of equipment. Yeah, there we are. Combine and a fleet of deer. So a very deer setup on here. So yeah, it's a map that I think does what it says on the tin and doesn't do an awful lot more than that. Kudos absolutely for having the productions in, and so many maps don't do that, and I'm very pleased to see a map that does, and that is very playable, is great for the big equipment. I think I'd like to see a little bit more detail in this. It does feel very plain, but otherwise, yeah, really nice map. I think it's one of those ones that's worth checking out. Also, multiple farms as well, multiple yards, very purchasable areas on here. Just I've seen, so this is one of those maps that falls the other way to so much what I see. This is a hugely playable map that's not as pretty as some of the others. And do you know what? I will take a hugely playable map over a pretty map any day of the week. There is so much that you can do on this map. And I think that's the important thing. That is my big takeaway at the moment, is that you can come into this with a ton of new crops and use those crops in your productions and farm something different. And that is fantastic. So yeah, I really quite like that. Let's have a look at the starting equipment then. And the starting equipment on here, there actually is more than I thought there was. We've got an Albert bale spike, an Albert pallet fork, and an Albert universal bucket, a Breedle K105 fertilizer spreader, a Bednar Omega 006,000 FL seeder, Brantner TR 34090/2 PT plus trailer, a conveyal 1690 conveyor, an Elmer's Manufacturing Super 7-50 weeder, a Krimi Pyros 440 potato planter, a John Deere 663R front loader, a John Deere 6R 145 tractor, a John Deere 6R 230 tractor, a John Deere 7R 270 tractor, a John Deere pickup 1150 weight, a John Deere RDF 35 header, a John Deere S7 800 combine harvester, a Lemkin Titan 18 plow, a Lizard pickup 2017, a Meridian TL 12-39 conveyor, a Nardi N60-35 header trailer, a Potinger Terra 6040 cultivator, and a Roper Keller 2 RK22 potato harvester. So, potatoes are the surprise on here I did not expect. So I quite like that this is a map that starts you off with potato equipment, because there are very, very few maps that actually do that. So that is very cool. Otherwise, it seems like a good array of equipment to start you off on here. I think it would be so it's going to take you quite a while to harvest any of these fields with the potato harvester. So that is quite the ambitious setup there, I think. But yeah, if you want to have a play around with a ton of new crops in Farming Simulator 25, then I think this is the map for you. It's got a lot of space to try them out, a huge number of new crops. In fact, it's got more than I listed there, because yeah, we've got buckwheat and lentils as well, which I didn't see on the original map. Oh no, buckwheat and lentils, we do have those. So yeah, it is just, there is a massive number of new crops on here. Really, really cool. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, if you'd like to do some big scale farming with some new crops, I think this is the map to try out. But let me know what you think in the comments below about this map. And yeah, I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, drop us a comment, and give it a share. Huge thank you as well to all of my patrons and channel members. These videos are only made possible thanks to your support. If you want more from Virtual Farmer, please check out the videos on screen now or subscribe for more. And I will see you next time.